Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about 5 players that shined in the Washington football team versus Carolina Panthers game where the Washington football team won 27-21. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, hit that like button and turn on those notifications, and make sure you guys go ahead and check out WinView. Link is in the description. Let's get right into the video. So overall, almost all the players in the Washington football team had a pretty good game against the Carolina Panthers in their big win, but there were a few performances that really stood out. So let's go ahead and get started with those. So the obvious one, number one, Taylor Heinicke. He had a great game, arguably his best game in a Washington football team uniform, maybe besides the Bucs game in the playoffs, but honestly, I think this was his best performance. Had an 88 PFF grade this week, which was the highest out of any quarterback. You got to take sometimes those grades with a grain of salt, but I, kind of agree with this grade. He played well, was very efficient, 16 for 22, 206 passing yards, 9.5 or 9.4 yards average on his completions, had a 92.5 QBR, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 141.3 pass rating. Usually even in his, okay performances, he's had a pretty high pass rating, but he usually doesn't have a high QBR. I think this is his highest QBR he's ever had by far. Overall, though, a great game by Heinicke because he didn't turn the ball over, was very efficient, only 6 incompletions, was able to move the ball down the field. We relied on a run game, but, Heinicke, when he had to make plays, he was able to make plays. Also had 6 rushes for 29 yards. One thing I would say, and I think a few of those, 2 of those were the kneel down, so his numbers are actually better than it shows. But a couple of things the only things that I think he needs to improve on is, he holds onto the ball a little bit too long. He got sacked 3 times. I would say probably at least 1, maybe 2 of those sacks were on him. He's quick enough to where he can help the O-line out and, just run away. And if there's nothing there, throw it away. Sometimes he tries to keep the play alive a little bit too long, holds onto it a little bit too long, and then gets sacked. Or if he doesn't get sacked, he gets hit. So that's just something right there, and he can run a little bit more as well. But he had a great game and really helped us in this game. I mean, he's just gritty, man, and I love that about him. He played great, and he played great against the Bucs too. 2 back-to-back great or at least good performances in this case. Great performance by Taylor Heinicke, and if he can continue to do this, not even be great, but if he can be okay for us and our defense continues to improve and we start getting more pieces back on offense, I really think we can do some damage in this second half of the season because our schedule is a little bit easier than it was in the first half. A lot of division games in the second half of the season. Once we play the Seahawks and Raiders, it's all division games from there. But Taylor Heinicke, probably his best performance in a Washington football team uniform. Another guy that was great in this game, Cameron Curl, making some great tackles, had 8 tackles, but he was on, Christian McCaffrey throughout, the game a ton. I mean, I think the touchdown that Christian McCaffrey scored, Landon Collins was on him, but Cameron Curl was an absolute monster. 8 tackles, 7 solo tackles. I also think he got a pressure on Cam Newton as well. He had that really big play on the 4th and 3 where he limited, right when Christian McCaffrey got it, Cameron Curl tackled him. He just had a great day, and it's unfortunate that, they weren't putting him on the field early on the season, at least not as much as we would like. Cameron Curl, we all knew he was our best safety coming into this season. He had a great rookie year, and all of us wanted him to start at strong safety, but they ended up, starting Landon Collins at strong safety, and, Bobby McCain played free safety, and so did Cameron Curl. But the first game of the season, Cameron Curl played less than 50% of the snaps. He's been getting more and more snaps over those, first few weeks. And then, once Landon Collins switched to linebacker, Cameron Curl has been getting all the snaps at strong safety, and he's been great. He's been, arguably a top 2, top 3 defender on our team. Him, Jonathan Allen, a couple other players, but he's been great. And, he limited Christian McCaffrey. I think he even said it's hard to shut him down, but if you can contain him, if you can limit him, that's a success. And I really think he was able to do that as much as possible, especially as a receiver. So props to Cameron Curl for not only being a great tackler, but he had some great coverage as well. He's really turning into one of the best safeties in the NFL. Not yet, but I think eventually he will be there. Another player, he's on this list every week, Terry McLaurin. I mean, he was just great in this game again. You look at his stats, he got 5 catches for 103 yards and 1 touchdown on 7 targets. Again, played great. Honestly, could have even been targeted a little more, although we only threw it 20 times, so it is understandable. And the 2 times he didn't catch it, on those targets, one was a ball a little bit underthrown. Terry probably also could have caught it, and the cornerback made a decent play on the ball. That would have been a big play. And the other one, Taylor Heinicke missed him in the end zone. So he was really efficient in this game, and him and Taylor Heinicke have a great connection. He caught that ball from Heinicke where it was a contested catch, and he came down with it, was held on that play, still able to make that catch. Terry McLaurin has been an absolute beast this year, has about 735 yards this year, is getting the touchdowns, and he's just a contested catch machine. He leads the NFL in contested catches, 23 contested catches, and the next closest player has 14. So he's making some big plays, and I think they need to continue targeting him a ton. I think at minimum every game should be 7-8 plus targets, because he's too good to be getting less than that. And yeah, I think he had a great game for us. And we all know he's a top 10 receiver, but he's approaching even higher than that. And we need to give him that blank check at the end of the season. Even right now, we just need to pay this man. We need to pay this man, because I want Terry McLaurin to be in a Washington uniform for the rest of his career. Another guy that played great, doesn't show up on the stat sheet necessarily, but Jonathan Allen, he continues to be disruptive there. I could have given it to Daron Payne as well, but he had that 15-yard penalty, so that negates it a little bit. But Jonathan Allen, just, getting quarterback hits, getting hurries, getting pressures. He's just doing it every single week. Not every week is he getting on the stat sheet, but he is very impactful, and he's our best defensive player. In my opinion, he's our best defensive player and arguably our best player on the team. Between Terry McLaurin and Jonathan Allen, those two are definitely, in my opinion, the best 2 players on this team. But he had 3 tackles, 2 solo tackles, had a QB hit, and you guys saw, it wasn't like, it's not going to show up on the stat sheet, but, Matt Ioannidis, a couple other guys, were getting to the quarterback on kind of like a slip screen, and, Cam Newton throws it to Christian McCaffrey, and Jonathan Allen, who's right near Cam Newton, sprints over and tackles Christian McCaffrey for like a 1-yard gain. That was a great play, because if Christian McCaffrey is able to, break free, or if Jonathan Allen doesn't tackle him, it's probably a long gain. So, man, Jonathan Allen, I am so happy we signed him, because he's an amazing player, and he's also a great guy for the culture. So Jonathan Allen, another good game, and he's probably the second, third best defensive tackle in all of football, behind maybe Aaron Donald and DeForest Buckner. Next guy, or really this isn't a guy, this is the whole unit. The offensive line has been really solid for us this year, even through the injuries. Sam Cosmi, Chase Roulier, Brandon Sheriff, Cornelius Lucas when he was sick. Just so many injuries. Tyler Larson this game. And they find a way to just be dominant in the run game and good, in pass protection as well. Taylor Heinicke got sacked 3 times, but again, I think at least one of those, probably 2 of those, were on him. And the offensive line is just really helping this team out, even with guys injured. Guys like Cornelius Lucas are balling out. Cornelius Lucas is probably the second best tackle or backup tackle in the NFL, and we'll see if Cosmi's ready for this game, but if he isn't, we still got Cornelius Lucas out there, who is, I think, our highest graded player this week. So he was good in this game, and so was the rest of the offensive line, helping Washington get almost 200 yards on the ground, which again, if you want to win these games, especially with how our defense has been playing, if you want to win with a good defense, usually you want to run the ball a ton, and that's what we've been doing the last couple weeks, and it's really helping us out. And huge shout out to John Matsko, who's one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. He's been developing guys, and getting them ready to play. Wes Schweitzer, Cornelius Lucas, Tyler Larson, a bunch of these guys, Wes Schweitzer, he's helping them, turn these guys into really good starters, or at least really good fill-in pieces when guys get hurt. Help develop Sam Cosmi as well. I really like John Matsko, also Pete Hainer on the offensive side of the ball. But this offensive line, I'm really happy how it's turning out. Unfortunate that Chase Roulier is out, but they're still looking good. We'll see if Sam Cosmi is back, but the run game is benefiting from this great offensive line that we have. And imagine if everyone was healthy. Like, imagine if we had Charles Leno, we had Eric Flowers, Chase Roulier, Brandon Sheriff, and then Sam Cosmi. They would be even better than they are now. And next season, again, I do not think there's a reason to bring back Brandon Sheriff, because you can come back with these guys right here that I'm about to list. You bring back Charles Leno, have him at left tackle. You keep Eric Flowers at left guard, Chase Roulier at center, Wes Schweitzer at right guard, and Sam Cosmi at right tackle. That's what I would do. All those guys have been great this year. And instead of paying Brandon Sheriff $16 million for an injury-prone guard, you can pay Wes Schweitzer $3 million for a pretty good starting offensive lineman who is very versatile. He can play left guard, center, or right guard. That's what you want in an offensive lineman. And again, really happy with this offensive line. So those are the players, a couple other players that I could have, given some game balls, or players that, impressed. DeAndre Carter had, somewhat, big game. Not, 2 catches, 22 yards, but had a touchdown, was solid in the return game besides that fumble. John Bates was pretty good as well. 3 catches, 23 yards, and he had some nice blocks as well. And Adam Humphries looked good, and Trey Apke had a nice fumble recovery, and Cole Holcomb looked good as well. There was a lot of guys that played well for us, but I gave you guys the 5 that I thought stood out the most. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace.